It's like an advanced version of retirement accounts. So with this type of retirement account, which is again a self-directed IRA or a self-directed individual retirement account, you can go beyond just investing in the stock market. So with your 401k, with your IRA, you're kind of stuck in the realm of buying things like NVIDIA, ETFs, mutual funds. That's it pretty much, right? Like you can buy stocks, you can buy stocks, mutual funds, ETFs.
Bonds. Yeah.
And bonds, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, but you can't go beyond the stock market, whatever exists on the stock market, right? With a self-directed IRA, you can pretty much invest in almost anything. You can use your self-directed IRA to invest in real estate. You can use your self-directed IRA to invest in like Bitcoin itself, not the ETF Bitcoin, but literally purchasing Bitcoin. You can use it to invest in startups. You can use it to buy gold, buy silver. You can buy tax liens. I mean, if you can really think of a way to put your money to work, you can probably do it with a self-directed IRA, right? And that is a very valuable way to expand the type of investments that you have in your portfolio while still using something that you are familiar with, which is a retirement account. Welcome back, good people, to another episode of Investors Playbook. As always, you have your co-hosts, Deshaun and Cornell. And what we want to talk about today is one of the biggest tech companies. Everyone knows about NVIDIA. NVIDIA just had its annual conference last week. So we kind of want to dive into that and just talk about some of the things that they spoke about at the conference. If you missed it, there's tons of YouTube videos you can go watch. But the biggest news was its new AI platform, right? The launch of Blackwell. We're going to talk about it a little bit here. So Blackwell AI, or in other words, the Blackwell Ultra chips. It's the successor of the already Hopper chips, which is currently like 8100 GPUs. These Blackwell chips are supposed to like make training AI models a lot more faster than what they currently are. So we're talking massive scale, right? And NVIDIA is about to be a game changer. It already has been a game changer, but it's going to continue to be a game changer. And with the launch of these Blackwell chips and this Blackwell AI platform, you're going to see AI accelerate at a very rapid rate. So we're talking 40% better performance, capable of doing real-time generative AI, video generation, and I mean, the list goes on and on and on, right? And this is just one of the things that they announced. This is a 4-day conference, people. So there was a lot to unpack, but this was probably one of the biggest things that they talked about at their conference. Cornell, what about you? Would you have a chance to tune in, or did you catch any of the information from the conference?
Uh, Unfortunately, I did not get to catch it myself, but I did hear a lot of people speaking on it. Different podcasts that I listen to and everything. And I'm kind of excited to see what the future holds, especially when we get into quantum computing and things of that nature. The things that I am weary about is, right now I'm getting deeper and deeper into, Bitcoin and the way it moves. Uh, they talk about quantum computing maybe being a threat to cryptocurrency. So it's like countries, states, right now they're building reserves of cryptocurrency. Like, what is it going to look like as AI gets more and more advanced? And then people are starting to be able to crack these algorithms or these codes. Is our money really ever going to be safe at that point? Will the average person be able to rob anybody digitally? You get what I'm saying? From their computer. Like, what's going to be put in place to stop this, Mr. Cybersecurity guy?
Oh, so I can actually answer that question, right?
For sure.
Being that I work in cybersecurity, there are two levels of quantum. Well, there are two levels of crypto. Well, there are a lot of levels of cryptography. But right now, they're coming out with a well, they've already came out with it, but they're more so adopting a higher level of cryptography, right? So we've all heard of RSA. We all know about asymmetric and symmetric. Well, asymmetric and symmetric keys, right, or cryptography, or just the ability to um, allow someone to have a private and public key, and that be the way that you allow them to gain access. So with quantum cryptography or quantum computing, a lot of the cryptography that exists now is useless when it comes to trying to crack quantum computing, right? Trying to get through it or break through it. Um, and with the ability of being able to crack into quantum type devices, it takes a very fast, high level cryptographic device in order to even like be able to pierce that surface, right? So right now they're talking about ways to protect quantum devices because individuals, bad guys, bad actors, are already talking about ways that can break quantum computing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's essentially becoming now more of a, it'll eventually be the standard, right? It'll take time before everyone becomes privy to this is how we can crack quantum computing, or quantum computing can be broken by these methods or these algorithms. So right now, I think people are okay. I don't even know how many people in general are even just using quantum computing as a way and like in their everyday lives. You're talking about big business. That those are the ones that are using quantum computing. Probably like you mentioned, Bitcoin, Ethereum, um, lots of different like blockchain. But for the regular individual, we don't necessarily need that type of protection right now. I think in the coming years, sure,
Yeah,
but
for
they're
sure.
already getting ahead of the game, right? They're upgrading the way that they do advanced encryption standards, or AES, and then the RSA as well is getting more advanced. They're increasing the block length or the cipher length of those different types of codes in order to make it to where you can now not just protect from regular types of hackers, but it'll also be able to protect from quantum computing as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, there it is definitely on the way because one, people are aware of the difficulty of breaking quantum computing, but they know it's not impossible. Before it was literally one of those impossible things. Like you think of quantum computing and you say, no, there's literally no way you can break into it. That was 5 years ago, 6 years ago. So now it's different. Now that people are starting to come up with ways to crack quantum computing, we now need new ways to make sure that that is now protected. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It,
higher forms of encryption. Um, so I think that when it comes to things like Bitcoin or Ethereum, I feel like because those are such high assets or high commodities or worthy, or I shouldn't say worthy, but they're valuable assets. And I think that the individuals who hold those ledgers or who are in charge of those on the blockchain, they're not going to allow Bitcoin and Ethereum to just be unprotected. And now, when it comes to the altcoins, I can't say the same thing. Those might not be as safe, but when it comes to the Bitcoins, the Ethereums, I think they will be okay when it does come down to the wire where someone is like, I can literally break into your Bitcoin wallet and steal it. I'm not sure. Unless you're using some other form of Bitcoin to hold your Bitcoin, like, they have like third party wallets that you can hold Bitcoin on.
mhm.
If you're talking apps like Coinbase, or if you have a hard wallet, which is even better, you should be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, quantum computing is one of the major things that NVIDIA announced that they were going to focus on in the conference, but there were other things also. As Ashawn was talking about, they unveiled new AI chips. They talked about AI supercomputing developments, advancements in robotics, and also strategic partnerships within the company. And what I like about NVIDIA is that they're not putting their hands in one basket. You feel what I'm saying? So what they're doing is they're diversifying. And the thing is, like, sometimes we have to treat ourselves like companies, like businesses, like how we see these businesses utilizing AI to advance. Also, they're creating partnerships. which is our important, and also they're diversifying. We should be doing these things also. It's important for us to diversify. So what we have is we have a product that we don't normally talk about on Investors Playbook, but it's
Mm-hmm.
something that I would like to talk about today. It is a self-directed IRA.
Yep.
What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on self-directed IRA, Deshaun?
No, man, I think so. Great segue, right? NVIDIA is a company that is very diverse in its investments. And I think as individuals, sometimes, especially on Investors Playbook, we talk about investing in the stock market a lot. We've had a couple guests on that talk about different ways to invest. But this is us talking about a a vehicle that we normally talk about, which is retirement accounts. But it's a it's like an advanced version of retirement accounts. So with this type of retirement account, which is again a self-directed IRA or a self-directed individual retirement account, you can go beyond just investing in the stock market. So with your 401k, with your IRA, you're kind of stuck in the realm of buying things like NVIDIA, ETFs, mutual funds. Um, that's that's it pretty much, right? Like you can buy stocks, you can buy stocks, mutual funds, ETFs,
Bonds. Yeah.
and bonds.
Yeah.
Stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, but you can't go beyond the stock market, whatever exists on the stock market, right? With a self-directed IRA, you can pretty much invest in almost anything. You can use your self-directed IRA to invest in real estate. You can use your self-directed IRA to invest in like Bitcoin itself, not the ETF Bitcoin, but literally purchasing Bitcoin. You can use it um, to invest in startups. You can use it to buy gold, buy silver. Um, you can buy tax liens. Like, it, I mean, if you can really think of a way to put your money to work, you can probably do it with a self-directed IRA, right? And that is one, a very valuable way to expand the type of investments that you have in your portfolio while still using something that you are familiar with, which is a retirement account. There are a bit of, like there are some different rules, of course, when you're talking about investing in all these other types of assets. Like when you're investing, for example, when you're investing in real estate, you can't use your self-directed IRA to buy a home for. I mean, you can't use it for like yeah to buy yourself a home. It has to be pretty much like for rental properties, and you can't use it to invest in like your brother's business or your dad's business. It's like certain things that you have to abide by, right? But for the most part, the world is your oyster when it comes to self-directed IRA, and there's a lot you can do. One of the things that my wife does with her self-directed IRA actually is do private lending. So she has literally became her own bank. She's able to take funds that she has in her IRA account, loan them out to people, and get that money returned with interest. Just like how we borrow money with a credit card or borrow money with a loan and we have to pay it back plus interest. Imagine you being the person that gets the interest back. So that again is another way you can take advantage of a self-directed. Just for a few examples.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that was, I think you covered that pretty well, man. I don't think I have anything else. But nah, so definitely look into self-directed IRA. Of course, it's not for everyone.
hmm
But if you feel like you resonated with what we spoke about today, check it out. Maybe it could benefit you in your future and your
Yeah.
family's future. So,
hmm
yeah.
So I want to add this too. When we talk about self-directed IRAs, like trying to get too bogged down, it's very like they still have Roth self-directed IRAs, traditional self-directed IRAs. All those rules are the same, right? Tax deferred, tax free for Roth, tax deferred for traditional. Um, but I did want to add some of the well, this normally when you have a retirement account, you're thinking Fidelity, or you're thinking like a regular brokerage, they're probably not going to allow you to open a self-directed IRA with a normal brokerage, right? It's through a trusted brokerage. I think one that my wife uses is called Monarch, is the one that she uses. And then there are a couple of others. Um, Madison Trust, Equity Trust. Really, if you just Google self-directed IRA, you'll see a list of them that come up. But you're not going to see familiar names like E-Trade or Ameritrade or Fidelity. You're probably going to see companies that specialize in self-directed IRAs. And I don't think with most of these, it's not free to open up a self-directed IRA. Just like how it's free to open up an IRA with Fidelity, it costs money to open up a self-directed IRA. So there's that part too, right? There's fees associated with getting it started. Um, but yeah, look into it. If y'all have questions, you can hit us up. Either put a comment under the video or message us on Instagram, or join the Facebook group, message us on there, because this is something that we haven't talked about yet, right? Like the self-directed IRA method of growing your money. But it's definitely one way that um, can diversify your current portfolio with while doing something that well, if you've been watching this for a while, that you should be comfortable with by now, with which is a retirement account. So yeah, man,
All right.
cool.
For
So
sure.
yeah, I think that's all we got for him today, man. Quick hit.
Yeah, for sure. But as Deshaun said, make sure y'all follow well, not follow the Facebook, but join the Facebook group. Let's facilitate conversation in there. And yeah, we as always we appreciate y'all.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah,
Catch y'all next week, man.
peace.